Luis is a lead animator at Blue Sky Studios. I worked with him for quite a few years, and so great you could join us.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think, Luis, you've always had a reputation of someone who's a great animator, and you're a lead, but it's almost the same thing as a supervising animator in, other film studios.
I guess. I think it's ever since Ice Age 3, I remember we really started doing like character teams. So during pre-production, you have like a small team of animators that lead up a character. So that means interacting with rigging and with design and the director doing tests and all that stuff. And it's awesome because you get to see like more of the big picture and you get to test a lot of different performances of the character, just to see what flavor the director is after. And it's always very fun. And what's great is you end up almost owning the character, like you know what angles he looks better, and what facial expression he needs here, and what movers to really move to make things work. So it's a great experience actually. Like on the two villains I've been leading up to now, Nigel and Mandrake, it's awesome because you feel like they're part of your DNA almost. Like when you finish the movie, you're like sad to let him go because you've spent so much time looking at them and knowing what makes them appealing and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
a great experience. Yeah.
Someone asked, how many years did you work as an animator before joining Blue Sky, and how long were you there before you were given a lead?
So my journey was I started learning Maya, learning CG back with Maya 1, like the first version of Maya. And I went to like a Spanish school, but the teachers didn't know a lot, so I started being self-taught and doing a lot of these things. Then I was able to get into commercials and I was doing everything. Like with another friend, I was modeling and rigging and texturing and just animating, doing everything on my own. But I felt like I wanted to spend more time just animating. So I was able to go to the UK actually and get into like TV animation. And that was a great experience because you have to do a lot of frames and you have to crank them out like 40 seconds a week or something, like crazy, crazy. I did do some other stuff, like I did some freelance for real effects. I did some more animation for a couple of like direct to DVD films, and then I was able to land a job at Blue Sky actually. And then I was at Blue Sky for 2.5 years. So I came in the end of Horton. So we finished Horton, we did the whole Ice Age 3, and after that, Galen gave me the chance to go into leading a character. So that's my journey.
So was Nigel the first character that you were lead for?
Totally, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was.
Amazing.
It was lucky, I guess, because there were so many interesting characters in Rio. But yeah, the supervisor gave us this, and I was super happy.
Now you've had two films where you're the lead on the villain. So how did you get into this role of being the villain guy? Is there something about you that we should know about, or?
I have like a dark side, in here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Galen Chu, the supervisor, chose myself and Nathan Engelhardt, who you did a podcast or something recently.
Yeah. Podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. So he chose us to be character leads on this guy. And like in the beginning, we didn't know much about Rio, like going into the movie. At first, you're like, okay, just give me anything. And when they gave us the villain, I was like, wow, that's intimidating. For one thing, I felt I would like to try human acting. But when I got that, I was like, wow, that's a challenge. Like I wasn't expecting that at all. And I think it's because both Nate and I combined, we had like a very good combination of the technical side and like the aesthetics as well. And we just started doing tests. And actually, I have put up a reel on Vimeo where we can see some of that first test that we did online. And it was very interesting because we didn't know where we were getting. Like, how does a bird interact and how does he interact around humans, and what can we do with his features? What's so special about him? Like the crest or the feathers and all that stuff. So it was an awesome, awesome experience. So obviously this was like a walk cycle that I did early on. Still the character is very off model at this point. But finding the weight and finding what movers do what.
Is the character off model because of the way he's posed, or just that it's an older version?
It's like an older version of the rig. Still working with design at this point, trying to like final look. Same with this. This is funny because I was like this is also P1, so that means it's very early in the production, like in the pre-production process. So the
Yep.
character is a little bit of model right here, and we didn't have an actor assigned to him yet. So I figured British guys usually are villains, right? So I chose Tim Curry and I tried this voice from Muppet Treasure Island, and people liked it a lot, even though it's super rough around the edges. But just to sell what the character does and how he moves and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like parts of it still in step, maybe.
Yes, yes, definitely.
And the wings are hilarious to me. Like they're so tiny. I totally forgot that we were testing different length wings at the time.
Mm-hmm. True.
This is that cool phase. I remember with Blue over here, the character leads had decided that he was supposed to be like a nerdy guy with glasses, and that to show that sort of nerdliness, they were going to have him always like look up through the glasses as if they're kind of up here. And so
Right.
he's like, he looks at the world like this, you know? And I thought it was just such a clever idea, and it really added to his character to have him, hold his head a certain way. So that's the kind of thing that the character lead gets to do is try to figure out how does this character hold themselves.
And how to use the design in your advantage, right?
Yeah.
Like for Blue, for example, like you're saying, when you go in profile, his beak, let's say, like there's a very clear slant here, so that makes you want to point always, the head in that direction. That makes you want to look in that direction. Like graphically, it makes a lot of sense, and to have that arrow almost, just pointing everywhere. So it's a very cool trait for Blue. For Nigel, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but one of the key things was the crest. So we did a lot of testing with the crest.